Morning everyone. I am Vidya Shreyas. Currently I am pursuing MTech in Highway Technology, RV College of Engineering. Today I am here to present a project management second edition by Mantel, Meredith, Shafer and Sutton. This book, A Project Management, it is a core textbook by a Mantel, Meredith, Shafer and Sutton with contributions from MR Gopalan, offers a comprehensive overview of the project management principles. It covers essential topics such as planning, scheduling, budgeting, and risk management in a structured and practical way. It designed for both students and professionals. This book integrates a real-world examples to enhance understanding. This second edition is adapted to suit local academic and industry context. It serves as a foundational guide for mastering modern project management practices. These are the chapters which include the world of project management, the manager, the organization, and the team, planning the project, budgeting the project, scheduling the project, and allocating resources to the project, monitoring and controlling the project, and evaluating and terminating the project. But chapter 1, which includes the world of project management, where it has what is a project, project management versus general management, what is managed, the three goals of the project, the life cycles of the project, and selecting the projects to meet organizational objectives, and confronting uncertainty, the management of risk, the project portfolio process, an approach to project formulation, and the materials in this text. Where what is a project? A project is a temporary endeavor undertaken to create a unique product, service, or a result. It has a defined beginning and the end, and it has specific objectives and resources. Where projects differ from routine operations because they have a unique deliverables and constraints. Where project management versus general management, it focuses on achieving a project objectives within the time, cost, and quality constraints, unlike a general management which oversees the ongoing operations. Project management deals with temporary efforts requiring a planning, execution, and closure. What is managed? The three goals of a project. For a successful project management, which has to be balanced a three key goals, which has scope, time, and the cost. Staying within the budget. Balancing this is critical for the project success. The life cycles of the project, where it has initiation, planning, execution, monitoring and controlling, and the closure. These phases which help structure project activities and decision making. For selecting a project to meet organizational objectives, where it has to be aligned with the strategic goals, the project selection involves evaluating potential projects for feasibility, for benefit, risk, and alignment with business objectives. For confronting uncertainty, the management of risk, where it has to inherent in projects due to uncertainties in scope, schedule, cost, and resources, where effective risk management, which involves identifying, analyzing, and responding to potential risk to minimize the impact. The project portfolio process. This organizations where it often manage a multiple projects simultaneously has a portfolio balancing resource allocation and prioritizing the projects to maximize the overall value. An approach to project formulation where it involves defining its objectives, scope, resources, and constraints clearly. This sets the foundation for detailed planning and execution. The materials in this text, where it provides tools, techniques, and examples to guide a project managers through the entire project lifecycle. The chapter 2, which includes the manager, the organization, and the team, where it has the project management roles, the project manager's responsibilities towards the project, and selection of a project manager, and to project management as a profession, and fitting projects into the parent organization and the project team. The project manager roles, where it performs both technical and interpersonal roles, where it includes integrator, communicator, decision maker, a leader, and negotiator. Integrator, where it ensures that all the parts of the project work together within the scope, schedule, cost, and quality. Where communicator act as a link between the stakeholders, clients, and the team members. Where decision maker must make informed decisions under the uncertainty. Leader, where provides a direction and motivates the team, where negotiator works with the clients, sponsors, and functional managers to get required resources and agreements. For bottom line of this, a project manager, where it balances authority and collaboration to lead a team effectively in dynamic environments. The project manager responsibilities to the project, where it has outcomes and the responsibilities it includes, while delivering the project objectives on time and within the budget, and managing the project scope by avoiding a scope creep, and tracking a progress and performance using a metrics like cost and schedule variance, and by identifying and managing a risk. And they should be have a quality assurance, making sure outputs meet expected standards, and while communicating clearly with the stakeholders and sponsors. For example, if a project is delayed due to a resource shortages, the PM must resolve the bottleneck either by negotiating for more staff or adjusting the timeline with stakeholder approval. For the selection of a project manager, it has a critical traits of an effective project manager, which includes technical competence in the project's domain, leadership skills like emotional intelligence, influence, and team building, where problem solving abilities and understanding of organizational strategy. For the project manager skills, it has include basic requirements, project management skills, and interpersonal skills. The basic requirements, which includes past experience, education, communication skills, computer skills. Where project management skills, it includes time management, cost management, resource, and the quality management. Whereas in management skills, it has planning, organizing, and controlling. In interpersonal skills, they should have a problem solving capability, decision making, and team development. For the project management as a profession, there has to be recognized with the frameworks. Many industries now require certified project manager, and training is widely available. For fitting a project into a parent organization, should must align with a larger organizational structure which can affect authority levels of the PM, project management, resource availability. It includes the three common structures like functional, projectized, and matrix. Has a project team is a temporary group formed from various departments to achieve a specific project goals. The project manager must coordinate and motivate a team members with diverse skills and backgrounds. A successful teams evolve through stages like forming, storming, norming, and performing. The chapter 3, planning the project, which includes the contents of the project plan, the project charter, the planning process like overview and the nuts and bolts, more on the work breakdown structure and other aids, and multidisciplinary teams like balancing pleasure and the pain. The contents of a project plan, the project charter, where often initiated the project charter, which defines the project's purpose, objectives, scope, and key deliverables, schedule, budget, and resource requirements. It acts as a foundation for all planning and execution. Here is an example of project charter, like it includes a name, stakeholders, project sponsor, and project manager, and project team, and project description like goal statement, description, and objectives. Has the planning process overview. It is a systematic process that includes defining tasks, estimating resources and durations, scheduling, budgeting, risk assessment, and communication planning. For a good planning, it reduces uncertainty and it guides the project execution. As the planning processes nuts and bolts, the key steps which includes breaking down a work into a manageable components and developing a work breakdown structure by estimating a task durations and cost, sequencing activities and establishing milestones and the deadlines. The planning processes where it focuses on systematically identifying all the elements which needed to complete a project successful. It involves creating a detailed work breakdown structure where it estimates durations and cost, assigning responsibilities and defining dependencies. The process also empathizes a flexibility to accommodate changes and uncertainties. Ultimately, effective planning where it sets the stage for efficient project execution, monitoring, and control. More on the work breakdown structure and other heights. It is a hierarchical decomposition of a project into a smaller tasks or a work packages. It clarifies the responsibilities and helps with budgeting, scheduling, and resource allocation. Like a project which it has a different stages: initiation, planning, execution, control, and the closure stage at last. In initiation stage, where it includes by appoint a project manager and project team, and it defines the project goals and get the customers buy-in and assess the feasibility. And in planning stage, it risk analysis and create a schedule and task plan and set the budget and establish the communication processes. In execution stage, it updates the status and compare the plan versus actual progress, and it improves the processes continuously and documentation. And in control stage, where it controls the scope creep and change the management processes, and it perform the tracking and quality management. And in last, in the closure stage, where it has lessons which I've learned and project report, product delivery, and project closeout meeting. In chapter 4, where it include a budgeting the project, like methods of budgeting, cost estimating, improving a cost estimates, budget uncertainty, and risk management. The, these are the types of the budgeting methods: zero based budgeting, traditional budgeting, incremental budgeting, and activity based budgeting. In zero based budgeting, the current year's budget is prepared from scratch without considering the previous year's budget. And in traditional budgeting, the changes are done based on the inflation rate, consumer demand, and the market situation. And in incremental budgeting, the current year's budget is prepared by making changes in the past year's budget considering the inflation factor. And in activity based budgeting, where a budgeting method where the budget is prepared after considering the cost drivers. Then the cost estimating. It involves identifying and quantifying all resources where it required labor, materials, equipment, overhead, and contingencies. The techniques which include expert judgment, analogous estimating, parametric modeling, and detailed engineering estimates. For improving a cost estimates, where it refining estimates over time as more information becomes available, where it helps to reduce the uncertainty. Using a historical data and risk analysis, where it improves estimate reliability. Budget uncertainty and risk management, where it account for uncertainties by including a contingencies reserves, where risk management practices identify the potential cost, risk, and prepare a mitigation plans to keep the project financially on the track. The chapter 5, scheduling the project, where it includes PRT and CPM networks, where critical path method, and the project uncertainty and risk management, simulation, and the Gantt chart and extensions towards the CPM and PRT. The PRT, program evaluation and review technique. These are the steps to create PRT chart. The step 1 to identify the project tasks. Step 2 to define a task dependence. Step 3, to connect a project task and to estimate the project timeframe, and last to manage the task progress. They help in identify the critical path that determines the project duration. PRT uses a probabilistic time estimates for uncertain activities, while this critical path method uses a deterministic time estimates. This critical path method networks very deterministic project scheduling technique used to determine a longest path of activities and the shortest possible duration to complete a project. This critical path method uses the activity on arrow or activity on node. This is a diagram where it represents a task with nodes or the arrows showing a dependencies. Project uncertainty and risk management, where it often they face uncertainty due to variability in activity durations and resources. Where risk management in scheduling, where it includes identifying the risk and analyzing their impact on the schedule and planning responses. The Gantt chart is a bar chart representing the project schedule visually, where it shows the activities along a timeline. Here it is an example. It helps in tracking progresses, monitoring deviations, and communicating the schedule to stakeholders. It is user friendly for reporting and team alignment. In simulation, where it often using a Monte Carlo methods, where it helps analyze the schedule variability, project completion probabilities. It generates a multiple project completion scenarios to understand potential delays and risk exposure. Where in extension to PERT CPM, it includes a resource leveling, resource allocation, cost time trade-off analysis within this PERT and CPM frameworks, like critical path method. Advanced methods integrates uncertainty analysis, multiple projects and software tools for enhancing a project scheduling and monitoring. The chapter 6, allocating resources to the project. Expediting a project, resource loading, resource leveling, allocating scarce resources to projects, allocating scarce resources to several projects, Goldrat's critical chain. Expediting a project, where it explains how to shorten a project duration using methods like overlapping activities or adding a resources. Where trade-offs between a cost and time are highlighted. The techniques which includes crashing and fast tracking. And resource loading, where it describes how to assign a resources to scheduled tasks to understand workload distribution. The graphs and the histograms helps visualize the resource demand, where aids in identifying periods of under or overutilization. In resource leveling, it focuses on adjusting project schedules to smooth out resource usage, where it eliminates peaks and valleys in resource demand. It ensures more efficient and balanced resource allocation without altering the scope. Allocating a scarce resources to projects, it covers methods to assign a limited resources to tasks based on priority rules, where it empathizes project importance, due dates, or slack, where it aimed at maximizing project effectiveness with minimal delays. Allocating a scarce resources to several projects, it discusses about a resource distribution when multiple projects compete for the same resources, and it introduces a portfolio level prioritization and seeks to optimize overall organizational performance. And Goldrat's critical chain, it introduces a critical chain project management approach where it focuses on removing a project uncertainties using buffers, promotes a task focus, avoiding a multitasking, and ensuring timely completion. These are the steps were used for the critical chain project management processes. Firstly, by identifying the critical chain, schedule and buffer management, resource allocation and management, and buffer monitoring and control. In chapter 7, monitoring and controlling the project, where it includes the plan, monitor, control cycle, data collection and reporting, earned value, project control, designing the control system, scope creep and change control. For monitoring and control project, it has many steps. By gather the project status updates, execute and revise the communication plan, by executing and revise the project schedule, and by monitoring and manage the risk and issues, by facilitating the project change management, and by managing and track the decisions. The plan monitor control cycle, where it is explains a continuous cycles of planning, monitoring and controlling, where it empathizes a comparing actual performance with planned progress and taking corrective actions when necessary. Data collection and reporting, where it focuses on collecting accurate project data such as time, cost, and progress, and it explains various reporting formats and the importance of timely and clear communication for effective decision making. For earned value management, a technique that integrates a scope, schedule, and cost, explains key terms like planned value, earned value, and actual cost for measuring the performance. Project control covers the tools and techniques to control cost, schedule, and quality. And it highlights the importance of variance analysis and taking timely correct actions to keep the project on track. Designing the control system, this helps to track the project performance using indicators like cost and schedule variance, where it includes checkpoints, reporting intervals, and feedback loops for timely decisions. The system should show the project size and complexity. Flexibility and clarity are key to making it effective. Scope creep and change control. It refers to uncontrolled changes in project scope without proper approval. It can delay schedules, increases cost, and affect the quality. A formal change control processes ensures every change is reviewed and documented. Prevented scope creep helps to maintain a project focus and client satisfaction. In chapter 8, evaluating and terminating the project, where it include evaluation, project auditing, and project termination. In evaluation, it involves assessing the overall success of the project in terms of cost, time, quality, and performance. It helps to determine whether the project objectives were met and identifies the areas for improvement by both qualitative and quantitative measures are used. It is essential for learning and future project planning. This evaluation will have a key takeaways like to evaluate the project success, and it uses for quantitative and qualitative metrics, and to compare a planned versus actual performance, where it highlights the discrepancies between expected and real outcomes to measure the effectiveness, and it promotes organizational learning by documents to improve the future project planning and execution, and it supports the strategic improvement by findings guide better decision making, resource planning, and performance enhancement in future projects. The project auditing, it is a formal and structured review to verify compliance with project goals, budgets, and standards, where it involves an independent examination of project processes, documentations, and outcomes. This audit helps in uncover the issues like inefficiencies or misalignments. They ensure transparency and accountability. There are the key takeaways like formal and structured review and independent examination to ensure objectivity and transparency, and to check the documentation and processes, and identify the issues and inefficiencies. It helps to uncover the gaps, delays, or or non-compliance with standards, and to ensure the accountability, where it confirms the resources were used properly and responsibilities were fulfilled as planned, and it improves the future project by audit findings provide the insights that can be applied to enhance the planning and execution of future projects. This for the last stage, project closure and evaluation, where it includes formal closure, transition planning, project evaluation, lessons which have been learned, and final documentation. Project termination, it is a formal closure of a project after its goals are achieved or when continuation is no longer viable. This includes final deliverables, releasing resources and documentation, where it ensures that all assets are wrapped up legally and contractually. The lessons learned are documented for future reference with a key takeaways like formal closure, where it is officially closed by delivering a final output, by completing documentation, and by obtaining approvals. Resource and contract wrap up, where team members and resources are released and all legal, financial, and contractual matters are settled. But the lessons learned where key insights and performance reviews are documented to guide and improve the future projects. But the conclusion, this book serves as a comprehensive foundation for understanding and applying a project management in real world settings. It empathizes that successful project management hints on the integration of planning, execution, and resource management and the control. Where key takeaways will include a project success where depends on the balancing scope, time, and cost. Where effective planning through tools like work breakdown structure, critical path method, and Gantt charts sets the groundwork for execution. And for monitoring and control mechanisms like hunt value management and for leadership and team coordination plays a vital role in aligning the project goals with the organizational strategy and the structured project closure processes which includes evaluation audits and documentation is a crucial for capturing lessons learned and for improving a future project outcomes. Thank you.